This week on Ebert and Roeper, a little girl turns the tables on Monsters Incorporated.
Also, John Travolta fights to save his son from dangerous Vince Vaughn in Domestic Disturbance.
And Jet Li plays good cop and bad cop in The One.
Feel the burn. You call yourself a monster? Scary Pete, Scary Pete, Scary Pete. Look, the kid's awake.
Billy Crystal is a wisecracking eyeball, and John Goodman is the scariest creature in town in Monsters Incorporated, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. Monsters Incorporated was made by the same creative forces at Pixar who gave us the Toy Story movies and A Bug's Life, and they've once again delivered a sweet and clever fable. Most of the story takes place in Monstropolis, the world that exists just behind the closet door in every child's bedroom. James Coburn voices Waternoose, the big boss at Monsters, Inc., a company that provides energy for the town, energy created by the sound of children screaming.
Our city is counting on you to collect those children's screams. Without Scream, we have no power.
Billy Crystal is Mike, who is the manager and the best friend to the hulking but good-hearted Sully, voiced by John Goodman.
Happy birthday.
Oh, googly woogly, you remembered. Hey, Sully Wooly.
Oh, hey, Celia. Will you? Happy birthday.
Thanks. So, are we going anywhere special tonight?
I just got us into a little place called, Harryhausen's.
And that's Jennifer Tilly as Mike's girlfriend. I don't even want to consider what their offspring will look like. Monstropolis is turned upside down when a dreaded child crosses over.
On 3, 1, 2.
No!
Pixar used cutting-edge technology to make Monsters Incorporated an even more vibrant piece of eye candy than its previous films. And with its soothing message that monsters are actually afraid of children, this is entertainment as therapy for small kids. But even though there are quite a few visual winks and story developments aimed at older viewers, this is a simple, soft, G-rated feature that will have adults checking their watches. As for the actors, they're all strong, but their voices are perhaps too familiar. You could almost visualize Crystal and company at the mics hamming it up. But I am recommending Monsters Incorporated strictly as family fare.
Well, of course, you can recognize the voices, and there are now voiceover stars like John Goodman and Jennifer Tilly, whose voice you could pick out of Yankee Stadium. But I love the way that Billy Crystal created the personality of that little eyeball, because when you think about it, what do the animators have to work with? He has no face, he has a brow.
Yeah.
And the way they work that brow gives him every possible facial expression. He looks sad, he looks tired, he looks happy, he looks quizzical. It was a wonderful
Well,
job.
It looked like a little green eyeball to me, but okay, you saw all that in there. I mean, it's cute. I think the little girl will get on some people's nerves because she's really aggressively cutesy, and that's a little bit too much. But as I said,
yeah, but on the other hand,
it's cute enough, and there are very few movies that I think you can bring a 3 or 4-year-old to, and they'll actually enjoy it and not be scared by it and get something out of it.
And what about that great roller coaster sequence at the end with all the doors?
With the doors, that was very impressive.
Good, okay. Our next movie stars Jet Li in 3 roles, and in the big fight scene at the end, he finally meets a worthy opponent, himself. The One is a high-tech science fiction picture that explains there are multiple universes, 124 in all, or maybe 125. I got a little confused about the math. Jet Li's other selves exist in all of those universes, and if he can kill all of them, he'll absorb their power. He already has amazing superpowers thanks to heavy-duty special effects and computer-generated images. That character, the villain named Yulaw, has gone on a murderous rampage and killed all but one of the others in the parallel universes. So only a character named Gabe is left alive. A multi-universe lawman, played by Jason Statham, explains what he's up against.
Each time he kills one of you, the energy divides among the survivors.
So I'm next.
You're the last.
The climactic scene has good action, but the setting is the oldest cliche in the book. The 2 Jet Lis dart into one of those handy abandoned factories that seem to manufacture only flames, steam, and showers of sparks, of course. And it goes without saying that the big fight is where? You know where it is. It's on a catwalk. The One is a movie without a brain in its head, and it's 124 heads. The idea of multiple universes is a clever one, but instead of exploiting it, the movie simply uses it as an excuse for lots of fight scenes. Admittedly, those scenes are well choreographed and the effects are good, but it's distracting when you see Jet Li fighting Jet Li and you're paying more attention to how they do it than to who wins. None of the characters played by Jet Li have any personality. They're just stunt machines. The only character in the movie with charisma is played by Delroy Lindo as a multiverse cop. The one should have tried harder.
No, it tried too hard, I think, is maybe its problem. And, you know, there's a big problem with Jet Li because he does not have a command at all of the English language. So when he's making these quips, you know that he's just reading what he's been told. It worked for Schwarzenegger in the Terminator movies because it kind of fit the cyborg character. But
and
here
it's better, too.
Well, but here it's just really distracting. And him fighting himself, we've seen that in a million, you know, Van Damme did that in a movie 10 years ago. So, I mean, that didn't impress me either.
You know, if Jackie Chan had made this movie, it would have been funny. He would have seen the humor in it. This movie is totally
If you're going to step up to the
straight-faced.
plate and do all this multiverse stuff, it has to make sense on some level, and this movie does not make sense at all.
Coming up later in the show, John Travolta and Vince Vaughn go mano a mano in Domestic Disturbance.
See you burn.
And coming up next, Billy Bob Thornton is the man who wasn't there.
I do the talking. You keep your trap shut. I'm an attorney. You're a barber. You don't know anything.
What's your card, honey?
I wasn't crazy about the game, but I don't know. It made her happy. And I found this setting peaceful.
Jesus, bingo. Bingo!
Billy Bob Thornton and Frances McDormand are an uneasily married couple living in 1949 California and in the film noir imagination of the Coen brothers in The Man Who Wasn't There. With its black and white shimmer and its story of ordinary people trapped in a downward spiral, this has the look and feel of a minor classic playing on late-night TV. Thornton plays deadpan barber Ed Crane, whose wife Doris is having an affair with her boss.
I've been carrying on with a married woman. No one you know. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. I got a note. A blackmail note, you know.
And that's James Gandolfini as Big Dave, who doesn't know that Ed is the one blackmailing him. When Doris is falsely accused of murder, Ed hires a slick attorney played by Tony Shalhoub.
So in addition to my retainer, you're paying hotel, living expenses, secretarial, private eye if we need to make inquiries, head shrinker should we go that way. We'll talk about appeals if, as, and when. For right now, has she confessed?
No, of course not. She didn't do it.
Good, that helps.
There's also an unsettling but somehow touching interlude featuring Scarlett Johansson as a neighbor girl named Birdie with a gift for the piano, or so Ed believes. Mostly, though, Ed is a man with terrible instincts. He's so passive, he's barely awake most of the time, but when he does make a decision, whether it's to invest money he doesn't have in a dubious scheme or to befriend the sweater-clad Birdie, the consequences are almost always damaging. With a sly, offbeat story, that glorious black and white photography, and a half-dozen shining performances, The Man Who Wasn't There is one of the best films yet from the Coen brothers.
I wouldn't put it quite that high. You know, Fargo was kind of in a stratosphere by itself, but this is a wonderful movie to look at and to experience. And the Coen brothers obviously love the cinema with every atom of their being. And this is a movie that the more you like black and white and the more you like film noir and the more you like these ordinary guys who get trapped in way over their heads with all kinds of cockamamie schemes that go disastrously wrong, the more you're going to like this movie.
In other words, the more you're really a movie fan and not someone who just goes once a month to kill 2 hours. The more you really appreciate cinema, really top-notch writing and some great supporting performances from Scarlett Johansson and from James Gandolfini, who's really good here. So I don't know what, there's nothing really that doesn't work for me.
You know, the hero of film noir is usually some little milquetoast or some guy who just has had a job for a long time and has never done anything extraordinary until he comes into contact with a femme fatale or some chance to get rich. But Thornton carries this to an extreme. He really is the man who wasn't there. He is nothing until he gets involved in this plot. And then he fervently wishes that he had always remained nothing instead of what does happen.
Yeah, he's perfect in this role, and he really just holds back. He doesn't do any of those Thornton eccentricities that he sometimes relies on.
It's great. Coming up next, John Travolta fights for his family in Domestic Disturbance.
And looking ahead to next week's openings, we'll review Jack Black seeing Gwyneth Paltrow through rose-colored glasses in Shallow Hal.
Right there. Is she behind the rhino?
My son is living with you in your house. And I have absolutely no idea of what kind of man you really are. And honestly, that scares the hell out of me.
John Travolta's ex-wife has just married Vince Vaughn in that scene from Domestic Disturbance, and now Travolta is hearing alarming things from his 12-year-old son about Vaughn's behavior. Since it's clear to the audience that Vaughn is the bad guy and Travolta is the nice guy, there's no suspense so much as terror as the boy's knowledge puts him in danger. Meanwhile, Vaughn is threatened when an old associate turns up unexpectedly. He's played by Steve Buscemi.
You know, when we were on the inside doing our little stretch, we don't take our best shots at imagining where you'd run off to spend our money. You're lucky it was only me who figured it out.
You know you're in trouble when Steve Buscemi is your associate. Travolta's son has been known to lie, but now he turns into a witness against Vaughn, and Travolta is worried about his son's safety.
You touch so much as one hair on my son's head, and I swear as God is my witness, that'll be the last thing you ever do in this world.
Matthew O'Leary plays the boy, and Terry Polo is his mother. She tries to get her son out of the house safely.
Susan?
I think I better drive Danny.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Get out of the car, Susan.
Mom? It's okay, sweetheart.
I just need to hang on to him until I'm someplace safe.
Please don't do this. Please.
As I said, there's no suspense in Domestic Disturbance because we know more or less who the players are, but at first the drama is intriguing. Will anyone believe the word of this disturbed kid? By the end of the film, however, it all comes down to some remarkably awkward action sequences, and the final sequence is so clumsy and illogical, it's just plain clunky. What bothers me more, though, is here's a movie where a 12-year-old boy witnesses a murder and an incineration, sees both of his parents beaten and threatened with death, and causes an electrocution, and the MPAA rates it PG-13 while saving the R rating for affirmative films like Waking Life and Amelie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, more to the point to me is that this is just a really horrible film with some really good actors in it. You're right about Steve Buscemi. When he shows up at the wedding, you might as well have the killer from Scream and the Corleones on the porch. I mean, you're like, okay, we know that Vince Vaughn is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Why not have us wondering for a while if it's really just Travolta's character who's imagining things? He's got a drinking problem, we're told, or the kid who's a pathological liar. So they blow it right from the start, and then it just turns into the typical, you know, the dumbest cop in the world. I don't believe this story. Go on home now, kid. It was just ridiculous.
This is another example of a really fine cast and a good-looking production put at the service of a lame-brained screenplay. I mean, hasn't Hollywood learned anything in 100 years about how to develop suspense and how to keep audience interest?
No, and audiences, unfortunately, still go to a lot of these kind of movies. And, you know, when the cell phone rings and you're trying to get away from the killer, that's the time to let voicemail kick in.
Yes, that's right, yes.
All right, next is Amelie, a French confection that wanders from scenes of beautiful inspiration to moments that were so sweet I felt the onset of tooth decay. With her cartoon cat eyes and her Audrey Hepburn vulnerability, Audrey Tautou is pretty near irresistible as the title character, a shy and fragile loner who finds it easier to connect with strangers than to establish lasting relationships. When she helps a blind man across the street, she opens his world.
Là, on croise la veuve du tambour de la Fente. Elle porte la vareuse de son mari depuis qu'il est mort. Attention, hop! Tiens, l'enseigne de la boucherie Chevalier a perdu une oreille. Ce rire, c'est celui du mari de la fleuriste. Il a des petites rides de malice au coin des yeux. Vous sentez ce parfum? C'est Pépone qui fait goûter ses melons aux clients.
Amelie feels a profound and deeply personal connection to her beloved Paris and everyone who lives there.
Elle prend plaisir à se poser des questions idiotes sur le monde ou sur cette ville qui s'étend là sous ses yeux. Combien de couples, par exemple, sont-ils en train d'avoir un orgasme à cet instant précis?
She develops a crush on an equally odd sort. This guy collects discarded pictures from photo booths.
C'est vous?
And that's Matthew Kasovitz as Nino. Amelie was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, whose previous work includes indies such as Delicatessen and The City of Lost Children, and the big-budget Alien Resurrection. His work is always infused with bold strokes, and Amelie is no exception, but whimsy is the dominating theme. Audrey Tautou is a Parisian Ally McBeal, a stick-thin dreamer who moves through life with all the cute self-consciousness of Bambi. In fact, regular viewers of Ally will really recognize a lot of similar tricks, as when Amelie dissolves in a puddle of water when she's crestfallen. There's a fine line between cloying and charming, but I was charmed just enough to recommend Amelie.
Oh, I was charmed too. And you know, every year there's one subtitled film that seems to capture the American imagination and open well around the country. And I think this year it's going to be Amelie, which was at Cannes last spring. They wouldn't allow it in the official competition because it was too popular, you see. And yet it was the most popular film there. It won the Audience Award at Toronto. I love it because it wants to do nothing else except be loved. Yeah. That's its only emotion. It's a puppy dog of a movie, and I like puppy dogs.
Yeah, and
at
Paris,
least cute ones
and
like
Paris
this.
looks beautiful. That's so French to say, here's a beautiful movie about Paris and Parisians, so it's too popular. We can't have it in the film
Some of the
festival.
French intellectuals criticize it because it makes France look too beautiful and too old-fashioned, like outtakes from An American in Paris. But I don't know.
Well, you know, Woody
Kinda
Allen
ready
does
for
that
that.
with New York, too, and that's okay.
Coming up next, one of Hitchcock's greatest films has been restored on a new DVD. Our video spotlight when we return.
You need any hydraulics?
No, we can handle it.
Where'd you get the key off his chain?
Yes.
Let's hope the liquor doesn't run out and start him down the cellar for more.
Notorious, starring Ingrid Bergman and Cary Grant, is Alfred Hitchcock's greatest film from the 1940s, and the French director Francois Truffaut felt it was the film that best represented Hitchcock's total range. A beautifully restored print on a DVD from the Criterion Collection is in our video spotlight this week, and here's part of a famous 2-minute, 37-second shot set at the time to be the longest kissing scene in movie history.
This is a very strange love affair.
What?
Maybe the fact that you don't love me.
Hello? Paris Hotel? Selling days? It's T.R. Devlin. Any messages for me? When I don't love you, I'll let you know.
The kiss goes on so long we can't show it all. And here's a crucial scene as Grant realizes Bergman isn't a notorious woman, but a brave one, and walks her out of a den of Nazi spies, while Claude Rains, her husband, is powerless to stop them.
Well, what am I going to do? Start shooting? Hold on, Donnie. You've only got about 20 yards to go. What happened, Eric?
She collapsed. Mr. Devlin heard her scream when he was waiting for me. Come on, Alicia.
I've seen Notorious at least 50 times, but I've never seen it in 35 millimeter, and the other versions I've seen are pale shadows of the remarkable detail in this new DVD. The black and white photography has a new richness and depth, and I was moved once again by Ingrid Bergman in what may be her finest performance. Hitchcock's Notorious in the video spotlight this week.
Okay, when we come back, my parting shot.
Join Roger and Richard for the second annual Ebert and Roeper Film Festival at Sea. Set sail to the Bahamas, February 28th through March 3rd, 2002, aboard the Disney Wonder, with a stop at Disney's own private island paradise, Castaway Cay. Call your travel agent or 1-800-945-3806.
I met a guy on the train. So cute.
You can track her down, you know.
Whenever I see a movie character use the 555 telephone prefix, I'm immediately taken out of the story and reminded that I'm watching a movie. On the Line is the latest film to carry on this dubious tradition, as Lance Bass campaigns to find the girl of his dreams by asking her to call 555-8832. With a few exceptions, such as Magnolia, real phone numbers aren't used in films because studios are afraid people will then dial those numbers.
Learn how to make that lady friend your sex-starved servant.
But if you're spending tens of millions, why not spring for the cost of obtaining a few working numbers? For On the Line, for example, a real number in the movie could have doubled as a promotional tool containing one of the In-Sync songs from the soundtrack. Then again, maybe we're better off with the 555 prefix, and that's my parting shot.
Okay, recapping this week's movies. 2 thumbs up for Monsters Incorporated, 2 thumbs down for The One, 2 thumbs up for The Man Who Wasn't There, 2 thumbs down for Domestic Disturbance, and 2 thumbs up for Amelie. So, up, down, Total agreement.
Well, your taste-o-meter's working once again. That's nice.
Thank you so kindly.
Okay, remember, you can check out all our thumb votes at our new web address, ebertandroper.tv, and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Gene Hackman and Danny DeVito in David Mamet's Heist, and until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, Steve Buscemi is almost always good in the movies, but you're right that his appearance at the wedding is a tip-off that they're not going to live happily ever after.
Well, and his character, too, if he's trying to blend in, shows up at the wedding right during the vows, and then he's like surly when he meets the Travolta character. You think he'd at least try to pretend like he's a normal guy?
Facts of Life by Lysol. Fact. It's cough and cold season. Fact. Lysol spray helps stop the spread of the cold virus. Life demands Lysol. That's a fact.
Brake sales don't come any bigger. Get 50% off lifetime brake pads and shoes at Meineke.
At Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.
Get a Rembrandt smile.
It only takes about an hour in my dentist's office, and, well, I'm a busy guy. I'd much rather spend it out here on the course with my wife.
Call this number for your Rembrandt smile today.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by